Most people spend their lives trying to change the world around them, believing that if circumstances improve, if people behave differently, or if life finally slows down, they will find peace. The Stoics understood something far more fundamental. Change does not come from altering the external world. It comes from transforming your mind, your perspective, and the way you interact with reality. Until that shift happens, no external success or comfort will ever feel satisfying. The first step in transformation is realizing that events themselves carry no inherent meaning. They are neutral. What creates suffering is the story you tell yourself about those events. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This subtle distinction can dismantle years of unnecessary anxiety and emotional turmoil. When something goes wrong, the Stoic pauses, observes the situation, and asks, "What is within my control here? What am I making this event mean, and does it deserve that meaning?" Most of the time, the answer reveals that the distress is entirely optional. Closely linked to this is the second shift, understanding the boundary between what you can control and what you cannot. You control your effort, your choices, your intentions, and your character. You do not control outcomes, luck, other people's opinions, or random events. Most suffering comes from trying to manipulate what was never yours to manipulate. The Stoic redirects energy toward what can be influenced and accepts what cannot. This does not make life smaller, it makes it lighter, clearer, and more manageable. When you internalize this principle, you stop wasting hours worrying about the uncontrollable. You start focusing on what actually matters, the quality of your actions and the strength of your mind. Another profound mindset shift involves the way discomfort is perceived. Modern life tells you that discomfort is to be avoided at all costs. Stoics saw discomfort as a teacher, a test of strength, and an opportunity to grow. Cold, hunger, fatigue, solitude, and boredom were not enemies, but instruments of resilience. By voluntarily experiencing difficulty in small, manageable ways, you train your mind to endure larger challenges. When discomfort no longer intimidates you, life loses much of its power to shake your confidence. Fear weakens, freedom expands. You learn that stability is not granted by comfort, but earned through endurance. The fourth shift involves the need for external approval. Humans naturally desire recognition, praise, and admiration, but dependence on it is a form of slavery. When your peace relies on the opinions of others, you hand over control of your emotional state. The Stoics understood that people will judge unfairly, misunderstand intentions, and offer criticism regardless of merit. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the opinions of others are outside his control and thus irrelevant to the cultivation of virtue. When you internalize this, your actions become quieter, cleaner, and aligned with principle rather than performance. You live for your own standard, not the approval of the crowd, and your confidence grows silently but steadily. Stoicism also reshapes the understanding of impermanence. Everything in life is temporary. Relationships, possessions, status, even time itself are fleeting. Most people resist this reality, which produces anxiety, frustration, and regret. The Stoics faced this truth daily, not to become pessimistic, but to become present. When you truly grasp that nothing lasts forever, trivial problems lose their weight. Gratitude becomes sharper. You savor the moment more deeply. Life gains urgency without panic. Memento mori, the reflection on mortality, is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create clarity, focus, and appreciation for the fleeting present. Another transformative shift is replacing blame with responsibility. Blame is seductive because it offers the illusion of comfort. If it wasn't your fault, then you are not accountable. But the Stoics taught that responsibility restores agency. You may not be responsible for every event in your life, but you are always responsible for your response. Circumstances may be unjust. Outcomes may be cruel and people may fail you, but your reaction remains yours. By owning your choices in this way, you regain power, momentum, and clarity. Setbacks become opportunities for action rather than reasons for despair. The Stoic mindset also redefines the meaning of success. Success is not applause, wealth, or external validation. It is the practice of virtue, reason, and integrity in every action, regardless of the outcome. You can fail outwardly and still succeed inwardly. You can be misunderstood, ignored, or even criticized and still live well. When success is internal, it becomes unassailable. This subtle shift in perspective releases you from the endless cycle of comparison, envy, and anxiety. Another shift is the ability to observe your thoughts rather than obey them. Thoughts arise automatically. Impulses, judgments, and narratives appear without invitation. Most people take these impressions as commands and react immediately, often with unnecessary emotion or poor judgment. The Stoic practices the pause. Is this thought true, useful, or within my control? Over time, this practice creates a gap between stimulus and response, allowing freedom, deliberate action, and emotional stability. You no longer move through life at the mercy of every thought or feeling. Stoicism also reframes effort and discipline. Motivation is unreliable. The Stoics acted because it was right, not because it was convenient or pleasurable. They embraced routine, consistency, and the integrity of showing up. By acting even in the absence of desire, you strengthen your character, build momentum, and earn trust in yourself. Discipline becomes an act of respect, not coercion. It is no longer a struggle, but a practice, a rhythm of aligning actions with values. Failure and adversity are also seen differently. Most people experience setbacks as evidence of inadequacy, but the Stoics treat them as feedback. Resistance is expected and welcomed. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the obstacle itself becomes the way. Each challenge is a chance to practice patience, courage, and wisdom. Adversity reveals character. The Stoic does not retreat from difficulty, but uses it as a proving ground. Every failure contains the seeds of growth. Relationships and interactions with others benefit from another mindset shift, understanding that people act according to their perceptions, fears, and ignorance. Most offenses are unintentional or misguided. The Stoic does not take them personally. This does not mean passivity or tolerance of abuse. It means responding with clarity and compassion rather than anger and resentment. Boundaries are maintained without emotional overreaction, creating calm and balance in social life. Finally, the Stoic redirects focus from self-obsession to contribution. Instead of asking, "What do I want?" the question becomes, "What is required of me?" Duty replaces rumination. Service replaces anxiety. When attention shifts outward, the mind loses its grip on petty worries, and purpose emerges naturally. The combination of internal control, perspective, discipline, and focus on what truly matters produces a life of resilience, calm, and clarity. Over time, these mindset shifts compound. You become less reactive, more grounded, and more capable of navigating life's chaos. Challenges still occur, but they are no longer catastrophic. Obstacles still appear, but they are seen as lessons. Life is not easier, but you are stronger, calmer, and more purposeful. Transformation is quiet, almost invisible at first, but permanent. The Stoic approach does not promise comfort, instant results, or the absence of hardship. It promises something far more valuable: mastery of the mind, freedom from unnecessary suffering, and a life lived in alignment with reason and virtue. This is the power of Stoic mindset shifts. They quietly, steadily, and relentlessly reshape the way you experience life. External circumstances remain unpredictable, but your inner state becomes unshakable. The world does not have to change for you to thrive. You only need to shift the lens through which you see it. And that shift, when truly understood and applied, can change you forever.